Sad Paradise.
Sad Paradise.
Yeah, I really like writing songs where it deliberately misleads people, where they think it's about one thing and it's actually the complete opposite. I think with Sad Paradise I came up with the line, "I can see paradise in your eyes," and people would think that's a love song, but it's the exact opposite. It's talking about someone who wants to run away and is restless, and it's kind of on that knife edge between someone leaving or staying, and it's deliberately designed for people to kind of misinterpret it, take a perverse pleasure in it, I suppose. But sometimes you get songs, and whether it's the melody or the rhyme scheme or the metre or whatever it is, you can just write for it, and that was one of those. I could have just done a Leonard Cohen and just written 50 verses for it, and you have to kind of be restrained. But when you get into that mindset where you can just write verse after verse, it's always most enjoyable. So. No. I think obviously the title came about when we just come back from the European tour, and we went for a drink with Hawley, and obviously like most of those nights they kind of end up a little bit messy, but there's a point of coherence where he cornered me and started talking about how sailors used to tattoo hold fast across the knuckles, and he was just sort of saying that they couldn't hear each other speak or anything because of all the gun and the gunshots, but the tattoo hold fast and they grip onto their oars, and they keep going, and eventually all the blood would drain from their hands, but then the message would still be there in ink. And I just thought it was such a fantastic metaphor for being in a band and for sticking it out and keeping going, that it seemed the most perfect song choice, title choice for this album, I think. It depends what song really, some not at all. I mean, songs like I Love You Bridge, it's just a narrative. But there are some songs that are very autobiographical, and I think they're definitely the hardest ones to write. Especially if you're writing it about a person and they can then listen to the song. You expose quite a lot of yourself. I mean, I've written songs before about a certain person and she's known that, and it's kind of awful in a way, but at the same time I'd hate to ever think I'd compromise that and not write something because I was worried about someone's reaction. I think the best songs are the ones that are kind of most autobiographical, or at least the most honest. And like Where'd Our Love Go, for example, it was written about when Alex left the band, and it is painfully honest, but at the same time it was quite cathartic as well. So it was nice to be able to get something out there and not let it drive you mental. But it is kind of always a worry that someone will listen to the song and analyse it, or analyse it incorrectly. But I like to think I won't ever stop with fear of someone finding it. I'd probably say at the moment I wouldn't go a whole lot over anyone, which sounds quite sad, but I've been to those figurative lengths before and I think you only find disappointment. But for the moment at least, I'd say I'd go the whole wide world just because I'm enjoying doing it, just for the adventure of it. And if you meet someone on the way, that's nice, but I do it for my own sake. Or alternatively, you can just ignore all of that and I'll just say Eva Green. I think I actually suffer quite badly from seasonal affective disorder. In winter, when it's cold, I find it impossible to write happy songs because I'm always quite miserable. But then this last album, which is written when we were abroad, it was sunny. It was an incredible time. So I think it's impossible for me to be unhappy when it is like that. Yeah, I think we should do it again. We should go around next album just somewhere abroad, just somewhere warm. So there'll be happy songs, and then in winter I'll just backpile all the miserable ones too.
We could do like an EP. Every year release 2 EPs. One of winter songs, one of summer songs.
It is, yeah. No, that's a good shout. I like Simon's description of the album as about sun-kissed girls and unkissed boys. I thought that was particularly apt and intelligent. I guess my favourite writer of sort of books would be Marquez. I think he's an absolute genius. I don't think I was influenced. I'm not sure directly, but I think it's just that kind of vivid description. Especially like in a book like Living in a Time of Cholera, it's so indulgent, but it's just incredible. You can read it and like the very early say, there's so little dialogue in the book as well. And I think to convey so much meaning without speech, it's kind of like a silent scream almost. It's just this person who's just got all this angst built up, but finds it difficult to actually express that in voice. It's all just in the first person in his head. So I think in that that's quite simple. I mean, obviously when you're writing songs, you've only got a few words to play with really, compared to a 400-page novel. But it's that way of kind of embedding a lot more meaning into the songs that is superficially apparent, and kind of having those sort of layers of meaning which the more you delve into you can find. And I think someone like Marquez would be possibly the most inspirational person I would find as a writer. In terms of just actual like songwriters, I'd probably say, I've said before, like Johnny Mercer is probably my favourite. It's such like so cinematic. When you listen to it, it just conveys like a place. And Song Like Me River, I think, is probably my favourite set of lyrics.